Welcome to Beyond the Numbers, the podcast where conversations about wealth go deeper. This isn't about flashy success or one-size-fits-all advice. It's about real people designing financial lives that align with who they are, what they value, and the legacies they're building. We bring together voices from business, finance, law, and leadership to talk about the moments that shape them and the strategies that sustain them. Here is your host, Chris Everett.
All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Beyond the Numbers, where money meets meaning and purpose. Today's guest has spent over 30 years helping leaders get unstuck and transform their organizations from the inside out. He's a recognized leader in the contingent labor industry who founded one of the most prestigious peer-to-peer leadership forums in the country, the Presidents RoundTable, where executives from across North America gather to solve their most pressing business challenges together. His approach to organizational development isn't just about spreadsheets and strategy decks. With a unique background that includes degrees in psychology, a master's of divinity, and a master's in organizational development from Bowling Green State University, he brings something rare to the business world: the ability to see not just what's broken in a company's operations, but what's possible when you align culture, purpose, and profitability. So through his consulting firm, he's helped hundreds of staffing executives navigate everything from technology transformations to mergers and acquisitions, always with an eye towards sustainable growth and meaningful impact. He believes that the best business decisions happen when leaders truly understand their core business model, build cultures that attract top performers, and measure success beyond just the bottom line. Today's guest is Tom Kosnik, founder and president of Visus Group. Tom, welcome to Beyond the Numbers.
Thank you, Chris. I'm so excited to be here.
Well, Tom, and thank you for being here. Let's start with the basics for our listeners who may not be familiar with your work. What exactly does Visus Group do, and who do you serve?
Yeah, we serve the C-suite, business owners, CEO, president owners, and C-suite, so CFOs, CMOs, CROs, that level within an organization. And we have a peer roundtable program where we get 12 to 14 executives that come together a number of times through the years to help them basically better manage and grow their business. And then we offer a lot of growth strategy, organizational development, consulting work. So that might include strategic planning, sales planning, assessments, compensation review, compensation design, some interim sales management or operations management. So a wide variety of services. All our clients are privately held businesses looking to continue the growth.
So years ago, I was part of TEC, the executive committee. Is this
sure, yes, yeah,
structured anything like that?
It is similar to that. TEC is now called Vistage, and they meet once a month. We meet in person for a day and a half to 2 days, 3 times a year, and then we also meet virtually. So, but similar concept.
Yeah. Very, very helpful. So you had this fascinating educational background, right? Degrees in psychology, a master's of divinity, a master's in organizational development from Bowling Green. That's not your typical business consultant resume. So how did this unique combination of studies shape your approach to helping leaders transform their organization?
Yeah, you know, I tell folks that, look, I've got a master's in organizational development, so we can help you grow the business. And if you need to go to confession, I can help you there as well.
How many takers do you get?
Oh, you'd be surprised, actually.
Listen, Tom.
Yeah, but
your business sounds an awful lot like mine. I have tissue in my office on purpose.
Yes. The MDiv, actually, surprisingly, there's a lot of transferable skills that come with a Master's of Divinity in terms of just being present, listening, writing skills, all those kinds of capabilities. And then obviously the master's in organizational development. I'm proud to say that Bowling Green State University, which is one of the top three programs in the top three organizational development programs in the United States. And so I trained in the what we call the action research methodology. So if you're going to make a change within your organization, find out what it is that you want to change, measure it, figure out what you're going to do, make the change, measure it on the back end to make sure that you're getting the results that you're looking for. So it really is a great combination between the two. Because Chris, we have a lot of family owned businesses. We have a lot of clients that are partners in the business. And so it really takes a unique skill set to get those folks on the same page or help them walk through certain challenges that they may be experiencing in their business.
No, I totally get it. Depending upon who shows up in my practice, I call myself the chief listening officer. And before we even get to that listening, I always ask them to take an assessment, which helps me see how they process information, manage change, face risk, and problem solve. And generally, no, not always, but generally they're going in opposite directions. So when you can put data in front of some of the emotion that can take place sometime, it really gives people permission to let the other person be who they are, if that makes any sense.
It makes a lot of sense. Yeah, makes a lot of sense.
So, let's go back to your roundtable for a second, because that's been going on more than a couple of decades. When you first started it, what was the problem you were trying to solve?
Yeah, gosh, if I have a sales executive, or if I have other operational individuals resources working in the business, and I want to change their behavior, I can either put a new job profile together, I can bring in a certain kind of management, I can change their compensation structure to try to reward the behavior that I'm looking for. But when you're working with people that own their own business, or very senior C-suite executives, changing a comp plan or changing a job profile is many times is not going to do it. It takes a different level of communicating and hitting them in the heart in a certain way, where they're waking up at 3:00 in the morning, thinking about the question that you've asked. And so the problem that we really were seeking to resolve with the whole peer roundtable program is that, okay, this business owner wants to go from X million to Y million. What behavior change do they need to make in order to realize that revenue growth within their organization? What ways do they need? How do they need to change their decision making? How do they need to change their financial planning? How do they need to change their sales approach in order to grow that business? Because we all know these businesses hit certain plateaus, and so if you want to get past that plateau, you just can't keep doing the same thing over and over again and expect different results.
True.
So that's really what I was trying to, and it all starts with the family, the person, the married couple at the top. It all starts with them.
Yeah. And I think, well, correct me if I'm wrong, I would think that over time, people who are in the group really get to know one another on a deeper level. And so some of the pain points can be pushed in a loving way and get results that you wouldn't normally get in a different environment, right?
Yeah, Chris, a lot of times people within your organization, even people that are directly reporting into you, that have, big chunks of the business that they're managing, many times they will not ask or they will not approach certain topics with the business owner, or the CEO or the president of the business. It just, every organization, right? There's politics, right, that are going on, but a lot of times these individuals that are ultimately responsible for the growth of that organization, they don't get asked the questions that need to be asked to them in order to get them to move from here to there, if that makes sense.
No, it makes a lot of sense. So this show's called Beyond the Numbers because I believe the best decisions happen when money meets meaning and purpose. Your work with CEOs and presidents who are juggling revenue targets, profitability goals, growth strategies every single day. How do you help them think about that intersection of money and meaning in their own lives and work?
Yeah, that we run into we run into prospects that and I should couch this by saying that it took me a while to learn this, but
Mm.
we run into prospects where it's all about them. It's all about, they want to live in a certain neighborhood, they want to drive a certain car, they want to live in a certain house, they want to belong to a certain country club. That ultimately it's their aspirations in life really don't go beyond as far as they can reach.
Yeah.
And then there are individuals out there that are starting businesses, growing businesses, managing business where it's not. I mean, do they want those things? Yes, but they want a lot more. They want to be able to create wealth for the people that are working for them. So when you think about the industry that we serve, which, gosh, I mean, IT, engineering, accounting and finance, there's a lot of responsibility, not only to the internal employees, but then to the contractors and the professionals that these individuals are putting out on billing at certain clients. And so, how do I get them? How do I get them to see to that cross section between what they're trying to build and finances and wealth and all that stuff? This is where the roundtable really comes in, because there may be somebody that's grown a business to 350, half a billion in revenue, has their own planes and all that good stuff.
Mhm.
But also they have a fantastic management team. A lot of responsibilities are given to those individuals. It's a collaborative decision making environment, and not always collaborative, but most of the time collaborative.
Mhm.
So there's a lot of that. There's a lot of that that's going on, where there you got somebody that's at 20 million in revenue that's stuck there and has been stuck there for 20 million in revenue because they're just not thinking about, gosh, how do I create something that creates wealth
Mhm.
for the people that are within my organization?
Do you find that some of the prospects who don't make it in end up in a particular age band or not?
That's a good question. When you say don't make it in,
Well,
are
you
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 saying,
mentioned prospects, and then you transitioned to the people that were actually in
oh, I see, that don't
your
make it into
group.
the round table?
Yeah.
Yeah, so interesting. Our best prospects for the roundtable program are the folks that are like 30 to 40. They've been working in the business world for 10 years or so, maybe a little bit more. They've reached a certain level within that, fast achievers. They've
Mhm.
reached a certain level within their organization, and now they're not stopping there, right? They're at the edge of their own history. Now they want to go further. And so they need input. They
Yeah.
know, right? They have enough self-awareness where they know that they need input from not only other executives, but other people that are running successful businesses. And so, I just mentioned two things here. One, self-awareness.
Mhm.
So these are people that understand a lot about themselves, and the other piece of it is humility. That that they have a sense of humility, that I don't have all the answers, and
Yeah.
that I need to rely on not just other people within my organization, but I need to rely on what I'm hearing from other people in an advisory group or a peer
Yeah.
group or something of that nature.
And that's where the breakthrough really is, right? Finding out what you don't even know that you don't even know.
Yes, yeah, yeah, and the reality is that people that have been in business for themselves for 30 years, let's say 35 years. They come talk to us, they come talk to you, and then they'll ask this. So they'll say, "Oh, Tom, so are you telling me that if I want to grow my business from 30 to 50 million in revenue, I have to get serious about financial planning. I have to get serious. I've got to hire some people here that I don't have on my payroll. I have to get serious about sales planning." And I say, yes. Well, I've made it this far in 35 years without any of that. Well, I don't see why I need to do that now. And so you do get people that the arc of their life, the arc of the time that they've been in business, where they just they got a different idea, right? Their success now has become their inhibitor.
Yeah. And I can see that. I mean, and
Yeah.
not everybody really means it when they say they want to grow either.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So you've coached hundreds of staffing executives over the last, what? Is it 25 years or is it more than that?
30,
30.
just over 30 years.
Okay.
How about that, huh?
Yeah, that's good.
And I still have a little bit of hair.
In your experience, what separates leaders who build truly successful, sustainable business from those who plateau or burn out? Like, what do you see in the ones who make it to the next level?
Yeah, it's really a great question. And let me tell you a story about two companies, two CFOs, and both of these companies were at 100 million in revenue, thereabout.
Okay.
Same kind of company, different parts of the United States. They were both privately held businesses, and one CFO was a bit of a challenge in terms of was always complaining about millennials and was complaining about compensation, and was complaining about turnover rates, and was complaining about the rising costs of technology, and then the other CFO, quote unquote, we're trying to figure out how to give the business to the millennials. And so,
wow, huge
fast
divergence.
forward 2 years later. Oh my God, this is true. I'm telling this is a true story. I'm telling you.
Okay.
Fast forward, 2.5, 3 years later, this company is still at 100 million in revenue, and this other company that wants to give the company away to the millennials is at 350 million in revenue.
Wow.
So, Chris, I mean, what does that tell you, right? I mean, it's just, it's a disposition, a leadership disposition of who I am, what I'm communicating, not just in the decisions that I'm making, but culturally, that I believe, I have faith. I believe in the people that are running this business. I trust their decision making.
Yeah.
I want them to take risks. They're going to fail. I'm not going to beat them up, when they fail. We're going to figure out how to overcome. Then failure is part of success. So this is really, the ones that, get stuck, it's that, that mindset of complaining and, what's wrong with the world. And the other one is it's the leadership disposition is all about really creating something that is special.
I kind of see it also as you're either looking in or you're looking out, right? The visionary that's looking out and really trying to be a blessing with the work that they're doing makes such a difference from someone that's just, just not there.
Yeah. No, but yeah, true story.
That's a nice story, actually. For anyone listening to that, it ought to, help you to look outward. Let's talk about culture transformation, Tom, something that you're known for. When a leader comes to you and says their culture's broken or their top performers keep leaving, it's a great follow-up question to what we just talked about. Where do you start? What's usually at the root of those problems?
I start with observation and interviews. So interviews employees with the focus groups, managers, one-on-one interviews with the manager, just getting on site and watching what's happening, looking at how many written signs are, in the company kitchen. Do this, don't do that,
Oh my goodness.
or the copy machine, or whatever. So fascinating that has as many focus groups that I have done. And some of those focus groups are small, half a dozen people or so.
Mhm.
Sometimes they're 20 people, 25 people focus groups. But it's so interesting where you've got some where the employees are kind of saying, "Hey, here's where we need." You ask them, "Where are you? What's stopping you from hitting certain performance levels?" They'll say, "Hey, this," and then you go talk to the vice president of sales, or you talk to the president, and they'll say, "Oh, that, and that is fine. This, and this over here is what's broken." And so there's ships
Mhm.
passing in the night. There's no alignment on what needs to be working within the organization. So that's one place that I start, and then the other big cause is unskilled management. We cannot manage
Mm.
people the way that we did 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago. This is where I encourage folks, the Jim Clifton, the Gallup research, the book
Mhm.
titled It's the Manager,
Mhm.
helping people transition from a traditional manager to a manager as a coach. The
Mm.
Reid Hoffman, the Alliance, the guy that helped build LinkedIn,
Mhm.
talking about tours of duty and building a company with millennials and things like that. So these companies will invest in sales training, and they'll invest in IT training, and then there's like a little sliver where they invest in management training. Oh my gosh. I mean, there's
Oh,
the best training dollars you can spend are training managers and helping them become, because Chris, it doesn't matter what industry you're in, right? These industries go through rapid growth, and
yeah.
what happens? They take high performers, or they take certain performers within that organization, and they get sucked up into a management job.
Yeah.
And then the manager's sitting there, and they don't know how to manage people. They hadn't gone through any kind of training. I mean, so a lot of these privately held businesses, even big privately held, large, $500 million, $1 billion in revenue, privately held firms have no formal management training programs to help these individuals be successful. And
It's
so
true.
when it comes to whole cultural transformation and making, I mean, that's one big area on why it does not happen. So that I always, I start with the focus groups and the interviews, just listening, observing, just trying to watch for patterns. That's
Yeah.
an organizational development competency, and then really eyeing in on what's happening from a management level,
Over
um,
30 years ago,
or what's not happening, I should say, not from a management level.
about 30 years ago, or actually more than that, I was sucked up into management and I was terrible at it. The vice
we
president
we call
comes in
that
my
self-awareness.
vice president comes in my office. He goes, you really suck at this. I go, yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
You
That's
gotta
funny.
know, right? Yeah.
Yes,
Besides,
yes.
culture problems often cost companies real money and turnover, lost productivity, missed
Oh,
growth. I
look,
mean,
we haven't even talked about employee engagement. Where they
yeah,
say that, what is it, 20% is actively disengaged, or maybe it's 30%, and then it's like 50% they're not really engaged, but they're just coming to work, and then you've got like 20% engagement. But I mean, there's real case studies and
it's
data out
bad.
there that says if you can move 20 to 30% to 35% of highly engaged employees, there's no other variable that's more directly correlated to the growth of the bottom line
It's
than
really sad to hear that percentage is
engagement.
so low, though.
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, it's
yeah.
bad.
It's but that goes back to hiring processes, job profiles, compensation, onboarding, training, development, career pathing. Like all of those factors
Yeah.
are part of it. And then back to the senior leadership, the disposition of the senior leadership to the
Mm-hmm.
organization. Are they approachable? Are they not approachable? How do they make decisions? Is it all about me, or is it all about creating something that goes beyond me? It's yeah.
Yeah.
All those factors are make up the recipe.
Well, this brokenness that you just described, though, for the audience of business owners that are listening, it can also mean deferred personal financial goals, right? When a culture breakdown drags out for maybe a year or two, what does that actually cost a business owner in terms of their own financial position and timeline?
Oh my gosh! I mean, Chris. I mean, I've seen where business owners, it's not they don't take a paycheck for half of a year.
Mm-hmm.
It's they may have some savings and things like that. But look, in the end, I mean, if the business is not, there's certain functions that you want to save the business. There's certain things that you have to continue to do in that business.
Yeah.
You're not going to, we've all heard, oh, we've cut, but now we've cut into the bone of the organization.
Yeah.
That's not a good thing either.
No.
But yeah, so some of these business owners, if they're not prudent about how they're managing these things, here's another really interesting thing, because we do get involved with the mergers and acquisitions things, and
Mm-hmm.
that is that companies will take their eye off the ball. They'll get tired of certain things, and you just see the financial results drop, drop, drop,
Mm-hmm.
drop, drop.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what happens is that, well, then what's the value of that asset? I mean, when you think about selling a business for 3 times EBITDA, 4 times EBITDA, 5 times EBITDA, and so for every dollar of EBITDA that you're losing, if you're valued at 4 times, you're losing $4 of asset value in that organization.
Yeah, it's
I
just
mean,
sad.
right? I mean,
Is this a business or is it a hobby? What are we doing here?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Correct, correct, correct. It's so yeah. There's a lot to think about in terms of just the financial responsibilities of people that own these businesses.
I mean, you're having a huge impact on a lot of people, certainly starting with their business, but then it just translates into their life and everyone that's connected to them. And I know that success can be measured in so many ways, right? Revenue growth, market share, and the impact you have on clients, the quality of the relationships that you build. And then there's the legacy that Tom Kosnik wants to leave behind. Tom, how do you personally measure success?
Yeah, it's so interesting. I had well, first off, I measure success as client retention / client satisfaction, and client retention, number one. But
Mm-hmm.
secondly, look, if our clients are succeeding, we're succeeding. If our clients are failing, we're failing.
Right.
It's that simple. And that's ultimately how we look at success in the Visus Group, in our organization.
Yeah.
And not just me, but a number of the people that that work with me in these different companies and with these different C-suite executives.
Yeah. No, I think that's critical. I totally get how important retention is. But speaking of legacy, what do you want yours to be?
Yeah, I had an uncle that was a captain in the Navy, and he when he got out of the Navy, when he retired from that career, he taught school and did some consulting on the side, and he eventually passed away from cancer. But
Mm.
I heard a story at his funeral or at the wake. I can't remember, but there was a business owner that came up and said. Uh, Spoke about my uncle in the sense that, oh my gosh, my uncle, came into our business and he worked with us and helped us see things, set up our finances, our books, our P&L, and helped us to understand financially what was going on in the business. and it changed everything. It saved my business, changed everything. And so I've always thought I'd like to aspire to that. So every time, so Chris, every time I'm on a phone call and we're breaking apart financially showing why this comp plan does not economically model out, or why this business idea does not economically, pan out. I think about my Uncle Joe
That's
and
good.
just that legacy of people saying, gosh, I mean, these guys, they helped me save my business. They
Yeah.
helped me see things differently.
I
So
think
that's
every
ultimately, that's what I'd like my
I think
legacy to
every
be.
one of us, especially business owners, I don't know if that's quite true, get what we do from somewhere in our life in the past where it really made a
Yeah.
huge difference on us, I was going to be a doctor,
Yes.
a literal doctor, MD, and then life occurred. So now I'm doing financial medicine and I love it.
You couldn't afford to be a doctor now.
It depends. Some of the concierge medical doctors, and do their own deal, and it could be interesting, could work.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Right. Yeah.
yeah, hey, there's so many ways to make what you really want to do work if you just get creative about it and put your mind to it. I really believe that.
Yes. Yes.
Here's a
So true.
question. Yeah, look, Tom, because of your varied background, and I think it's fascinating. If money was no object, how would you spend your time? What?
Yeah, I would, I don't know if you're familiar with the M code.
No.
An associate of mine helped build the M code and Chicago local, but motivation, M stands for motivation
Okay.
code. And so you take this survey. Uh, I can't remember how long it takes to take the survey, but it shows your key motivations. And my number one motivation is service. And so, gosh, if money was no obstacle, so two things. One, teaching people how to read. So here
Mm,
I live in Chicago, and yet, we're graduating kids that can't read or can't do math.
yeah,
It's like knowing how to read, knowing how to do math. It'll change your life for most people.
absolutely
Um,
true. Yeah.
yeah, so I mean that's kind of one little altruistic thing, and just that whole concept of service. I wouldn't mind just working in an organization that serviced. Right now I'm kind of servicing, offering service for a different kind of sector of the population. But there is I've got the MDiv. So previous, I lived at 113th and King Drive for 5 years earlier when I was getting my MDiv. And there's a lot of like very talented. I met a lot of talented people and families on the South Side, and I thought, boy, with the right kind of a scenario, these individuals can really go far in their lives and live wonderful, productive lives. And so the first part of my career, there was a little bit of that I was able to do. So, I'm thinking maybe on the back end of my career, I can get back into that and do some of that real, very very meaningful work.
Yeah. And I think because of what you just said, I'm sure it resonates through everything you do every single day. It just has to leak from you anyway. Whether you're
Thank
actively
you.
doing it as a mission or serving, it's doesn't it show up in the work that you're doing right now?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. You don't know what it feels like when a CFO calls you up 6 months after you've made a major compensation change in the organization,
Hmm.
and the CFO says, "Tom, the compensation plans are working." I'm like, "Amen, amen."
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
So you work with staffing firm owners who are scaling from a million to 25 million and beyond, right? Um, that kind of growth requires significant financial decisions. So when it's like when to invest in tech, when to hire, how to structure comp plans, just like you just mentioned. But what financial planning mistakes do you see business owners making most often during that growth phase that they're shooting for?
Yeah, and you're going to identify with this response here,
Okay.
and that is that firms will grow, companies will grow, and they'll start out with a bookkeeper, and then they'll move to a controller,
Hmm.
and then they'll move to a CFO, or maybe there's director of finance, CFO,
Hmm.
whatever. I mean, there's these financial. But gosh almighty, the biggest mistake I see is that they've grown to where they need a good, solid controller on staff, and they're still operating with a bookkeeper. So,
Ah,
Chris, I mean, back to financial
yeah.
basics, cash flow,
Yeah.
account receivables, lines of credit, um, just all of these financial, just banking relationships, developing banking
Yeah.
relationships, just all these different financial factors. They grow to a point. It's actually one of the reasons why they stagnate,
Yeah.
is that they don't have the acumen on staff. They don't have people. They're trying to the backfill is really not the right word, but they have outgrown the capabilities of the people that they have in that position or in that department. And so then those people really are not capable of making the kinds of decisions, or giving the kind of advice to the either the person that owns the business or the family that owns the business, in order for them to make smart, prudent financial decisions about the business. So that, I'm telling you, I mean, I've seen it 1,000 times over. You walk in a situation, and I get the P&L, and I look at the line items on the P&L, and I get to the financing of this and that, and I'm like, wow, like, why is that number so high? And the owner just doesn't know what the owner doesn't know. Just has got some kind of line of credit, or
Yeah.
a funding line that's like way out of whack
Yeah.
for what it should be,
Well,
what he
and
should
both
be.
sides don't know, right? The business owner doesn't really understand what to look for, and the person providing the information isn't capable.
That's absolutely
That's
that's
an equation
absolutely
for
correct.
disaster.
Absolutely correct.
Yeah.
Well, it might not be disaster, but what it does
Well,
mean is that
stagnation.
uh,
Yeah.
a lot of loss of net income.
Yeah.
So I just, like, Chris, I mean, back to just the execution on financial management basics. Just having that, and then the other thing is that the banking relationship. You got to find the right bank. You really have to find the right bank for your business. You really have to find the right banker that's interested in helping you grow the business. I was in a meeting with a client and a banker, and I couldn't believe it. I mean, this banker says it's not a good thing to give an entrepreneur money.
Oh, that just bless that man.
It's like, why would you even make that kind of comment in
Oh,
in a meeting with somebody that's looking to borrow money from you? Anyway,
no.
craziness.
Going back to your roundtable for a second, um, is there any? I guess what I'm trying to take a sense, or maybe I don't even know if you have one, but what percentage of the folks that you work with do you think really put enough emphasis on their personal financial planning?
Oh, wow.
And can
Once they get
but,
to a once
but
they get to a s- once they get to a certain age, most of them have financial planners. Um, Now, are they doing everything
well,
that
I
their
doubt
financial
it, but
planner is advising them?
yeah, who knows?
That's
Yeah.
that's another. But typically the younger business owners that we have, I mean, Chris, they're just trying to make payroll. I
Yeah.
mean, the last thing they're thinking about is their own, financial planning, and they're just trying to stay alive week to week, and grow the business and get new customers and keep the customers that they got, and very, very. tactical, reactive kind. But it's not until that business gets to a certain size that then they have enough cash flow going through the business where they can then say, "Gosh, I've got to get a financial advisor and kind of figure this out, figure
I
that
don't
out."
think that's a good excuse. And I'll tell you why. I mean, when you're growing your business, you have certain things that you have to do. Otherwise, the business will fail.
Correct.
And you do those
Correct.
certain things according to your capacity to do them. The same thing must be true on the personal side. You must protect the ability to continue to do this every day. And if you don't do that and you can build on it, well, things can just really fall apart.
I like what you're saying. I like what you're saying, but the reality is, right? I'm sure you go up against it all the time. It's
I'll
interesting.
tell you what, I can, but most of the time, if someone's in a significant relationship or they're married and both couples take a look at the risk together, if there's love in the relationship, they will do whatever it takes to make sure they can continue to do both.
Nice point. Nice point.
I think that's typically a given.
You're telling me that my wife loves me.
Exactly. And she wants you to be around for a while, and
she does, actually.
She wants you to take care of her too. Yeah. You've got to be, but what's cool about it, if you can get them to see that, then as this business grows, you can build this side, and then it just becomes a beautiful, easy.
Yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense. Yeah.
So let's end with this, Tom. What's one thing you wish more business leaders understood about the relationship between their company's financial health and their own personal financial security?
I would say, look, Lencioni wrote a book, Five Temptations of a CEO.
Mm-hmm.
And the very first temptation is the temptation to not assume the financial responsibility, the ultimate financial results of that entity. And so, and many times, Chris, over the years, I found people that, they just don't have an eye on the financial responsibility of the organization. I mean, they're growing, they're making money, and you hear this, revenue solves all ills. Well, that's a myth. That's not true. Revenue
it makes bigger problems too, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It sure does. Yeah, it sure does. You run into client concentration issues and all those other things. And so, and it would be the same thing on the personal finance side. I mean, it is intimately connected, in terms of the asset that they own and are building and their own personal assets. It's all connected, and they really need to see that as connected and things like that. So it's and it's not only their own personal finances, not only for for their extended family, married kids, all of that stuff. It's
their own legacy.
We're hearing more and more of elderly parents moving in with kids because they've run out of money, and now it's $25,000 a month to have them move into an assisted living facility, and insurance is only going to pay X, and so I guess grandma's going to come live with us until she goes to the other side. So it's all of that stuff is connected, and we really need to. Yeah,
it really is. And I think what I'm hearing more than anything is just helping people to see what they don't see. I mean, you mentioned client concentration risk as one, but there's so many, like when I think about the work that I do, there's so many areas inside someone's financial structure with risk that they don't see. I call it you're leaking, it's a common knowledge gap that says, everything's fine. I've done this, and this. Oh, I'm fine. Well, if they hire you to take a look at their business to show them where they're not so fine, it makes not only a difference for the business, because the business will grow, but now the offshoot from that goes inside of their own financial plan. In my life, when I'm looking at someone's situation and show them what they can't see, now, most of the time, especially if they're really looking forward to making a positive change for themselves, you can
Yeah.
watch them just lean back in the chair and exhale and say, wow, I missed that. Thank you
Yes.
for telling me
Yes.
that, right? And I'm sure you get
Yeah.
that all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, we do. We do.
Yeah. Tom, this has been a valuable conversation. But before we wrap up, where can listeners find you and learn more about Visus Group?
Yeah,
And,
great.
and also the President's RoundTable.
Yeah, just the visusgroup.com. That's VISUS group, GROUP.com. So all that information about the Roundtable program and the Organizational Development Growth Strategy Consulting Services are on the website. And then seek me out on LinkedIn. Connect with me on LinkedIn because we post almost every day on LinkedIn. So you'll see a lot of good information that comes out. And I'm Tom G. Kosnik, Tom G. Kosnik on LinkedIn.
K-O-S-N-I-K.
K-O-S-N-I-K. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tom, for sharing your wisdom and your experience with us today. And to our listeners, if today's conversation resonated with you, if you're thinking about how to align your business success with your personal financial goals, or if you're wondering whether your financial plan truly supports the life and the legacy you want to create, I'd love to talk to you. And you can reach me at Everett Wealth Solutions. And until next time, always remember the best decisions happen where money meets meaning and purpose. Be blessed.
Beyond the Numbers podcast requires more than a conversation. It takes action, research, and collective wisdom. If today's episode resonated with you, we'd love to hear your insights. Join the conversation and help us shape the future together. We'll be back with more stories, strategies, and real-world solutions that are making a difference for everyone. In the meantime, be sure to subscribe, rate, write a review, and share it with someone you think would benefit from it too. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you on the next episode.